page. And next up is the local scoreboard with Donnie Moore and Mark It Down featuring Marcus Fitzsimmons. You're listening to the GoTee Sports page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
Make the big play with MVP Money Tools from Knoxville TBA Employees Credit Union. With KTBA ECUs, contactless debit card, direct deposits that hit up to 2 days early, credit cards that earn cashback reward points, and loans with competitive rates. Add all 4 MVP Money Tools to build your financial roster. It's everything you need to win financially.
Join us now.
Federally insured by NCUA. Equal Opportunity Housing Lender. Restrictions may apply. Call for details. 800-467-5427.
Since 1925, Anderson Lumber in Alcoa has proudly served and supported our local communities. But did you know Anderson Lumber is so much more than a lumber store? You can stop in anytime and see our incredible kitchen showroom. From floors to cabinets and everything in between, Anderson Lumber's experts can help you design your dream kitchen. And then our install team will make it a reality. For anything home, we welcome you to visit Anderson Lumber in Alcoa or shop over 67,000 items online at AndersonLumberCompany.com. Anderson Lumber, since 1925.
Aubrey's is known for real comfort, real food, real good. But remember, Aubrey's is also really into Blount County. Aubrey's Maryville has been a strong supporter of local schools and sports programs for more than 15 years. From baseball to football, dance teams, and marching bands, Aubrey's has helped schools and youth programs generate thousands of dollars. It's easy for us to do because it's the right thing to do. So the next time you're looking to choose a place to eat, we hope you'll choose Aubrey's. Real comfort, real food, real good. See what's on the menu at aubreysrestaurants.com. Merlin's Music World in Maryville is owned and operated by Dylan Davis and has been a fixture in Maryville since 1987. Guitars, amplifiers, lessons, sound system, and video system installations are products available at Merlin's. Merlin's also offers a 24-track digital recording studio featuring audio engineer Rusty Chambers. Visit Merlin's at 1920 East Lamar Alexander Parkway or call 977-0093.
We all want our loved ones to be safe. Denso in Maryville is at the forefront of creating technology for safer vehicles. Join the automotive industry with Denso in a fast, challenging, clean, and safe environment. They offer great benefits and competitive pay, as well as a convenient on-site healthcare facility, cafes, fitness center, and more. Start your future now. Entry-level production positions start at $16 an hour for second or third shift. Visit densocareers.com/Maryville to learn more and apply. The Blue Tick Tavern is home to the tastiest pizza in Blount County. Try our signature Broadway barbecue pizza, grilled chicken and red onions covered in mounds of mozzarella. Or sink your teeth into our one-of-a-kind chicken and bacon pizza, made with an olive oil base, grilled chicken, bacon, red onions, and covered in Brussels petals. The Blue Tick Tavern also has salads, sandwiches, and the area's largest beer selection. Regularly recognized as the best pizza in Blount County, it's the Blue Tick Tavern, located at 128 West Broadway in downtown Maryville.
Welcome back to the Blue Tick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards along with the rest of our broadcast crew, and now it's time for the local scoreboard, brought to you by Donnie Moore. And Donnie, good morning to you.
Morning, Mike.
We've had all spring sports, high school sports are in full swing, huh?
Yeah, if they can get in a few games and matches between the raindrops, it seems to be raining on weekends.
Yeah, and hail. I saw there on television over there on the far side of Maryville, the south side over there around Fairview or somewhere. They just got pelted with hail there yesterday.
Yeah, it looked like snow in some places over there on the other side of Maryville. Well, let's get started with our local scoreboard, brought to you by the Mandy B. Street Realty Company. Last night, Alcoa, starting off with baseball, Alcoa was supposed to go to Greenback to play a game. That one was postponed because of the weather, as were some of the others. So Greenback just packed up their equipment and traveled to Sequoia to play a game. They decided, we're not going to let this weather buffalo us. So they just went to Sequoia to play.
And how'd they do?
Well, they got beat. Sequoia won that one 7-4. So Greenback was
bet
buffaloed
they-
anyway.
I bet they won't do that again.
Well, they may not, but at least they got a game in anyway. They
Hell,
got,
But give them kudos for not letting the weather get them down.
this
you know?
is true. This is true. They got a game in.
We
so,
want to play. I'll appreciate that. We want to go out and play today. We don't care who we play.
This is true. So 7-4 in favor of Sequoia last night over the Cherokees. Kings Academy went to Midway, and they just decided we'll just play a doubleheader. So they did, and won a doubleheader. In fact, 13-0 in the first game and 8-6 in the second. Midway kind of figured them out right there, and won lost a close game in the second, 8-6. Heritage went to Knox West last night, and West pelted them 5-1. Heritage is they're struggling a little bit this season, but they're going to get it figured out. Coach said they're going to start hitting the ball a little bit better. So
We'll see. I
we
mean,
will.
they've got about 2.5 weeks to kind of figure some things out, and
Yeah.
it feels like they're kind of close to getting some of those pieces to click.
yeah, Robbie says they're hitting it a little bit better right now, but he says they can do a little bit better as far as hitting the ball goes. William Blount won one at Lenoir City last night, 9-2. William Blount's playing pretty good baseball right now. They got some good pitchers, and that helps in high school.
It helps, and they've got that depth, and
Yeah.
you know, it's just a matter of it's all warm-ups for this district tournament.
Sure
That's
is.
all it is.
That's all it is.
Because
You're right.
at the end of the day, we've seen it time and time again. You can have a great season and be done by Friday night in the district tournament. And Mike's thing is, what do you got to show for that?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you're not coming. You don't come away with that district tournament plaque, you're not going any farther.
No, you're exactly right. A couple of softball games to report to you last night. Greenback went to McMinn County, and McMinn County shellacked them pretty good, 10-3. And then Alcoa went to Dobbins Bennett last night and won another one. And I say another one because the Alcoa softball team, the girls softball team, is undefeated so far this year. They were undefeated in the district anyway, I should say.
Yeah, in the district.
In the district. And they won the district title over, was it GP? Thursday night?
Yes.
GP. Undefeated in the district, and they are rolling right now.
You have any soccer on that scoreboard?
I do not.
Well, let me just toss this one in because
Lay one on me.
you know, I don't know if you might notice this in the scoreboards. It kind of got by us last Saturday, but Lenoir City soccer is just rolling.
I
We
thought they
talked
were
about
doing
them just
well.
for a minute a couple weeks ago when we had Maryville here.
Mm-hmm.
But since we've talked about that one, Lenoir City's knocked off Farragut. And I believe they're 4
Well,
or 5-0 in the district at this point, having played. I think Bearden's the only big dog they have left to play.
Yeah, well, that's a accomplishment right there when you beat Farragut. So good for LC.
I mean, we'll see. They've had some good players down there, but it looks like they're ready to make a run this year.
Mm-hmm. Good for them. Well, a little more local news to let you know about. When WBHS wrestling coach Chad Clabo decided to move on, John Henson decided to move in. Henson, an experienced football coach of nearly a quarter century, as well as a former head wrestling coach, is no rookie to the position, and he has a daughter who wrestles on the girls' team at William Blount as well. Henson stresses hard work and expects to develop young men and women of high moral character. Congratulations to John Henson.
He was an assistant with the program before he
is.
took over.
Yes, and is still an assistant on the football program too. So congratulations. He's inheriting a pretty decent wrestling program over there traditionally through the years. One signing this week to let you know about, Jet Merle of Heritage High School signed with Roan State Community College for golf. He's going to continue his academic and athletic career there at Roan State Community College. Jet is the son of and has proud parents in Blount County Schools. His dad is director of schools, David Merle, and his mom is Summer, and my boss. So
that's officially a shout out, huh?
It is indeed. So congratulations to Jet Merle, continuing at Roan State Community College. And one more bit of news that I learned on the social media last night: Tommy Clemmer was voted by the Loudoun County Board of Education as Greenback's new head football coach on Thursday night. So Greenback has a new football coach.
So this is their third coach in 3 months.
Third coach in 3 months. Wow.
God. Don't take them long to get rid of them there, does it?
Well, I mean, you still got to. If you get a running start, you might be able to get something out of spring practice still.
Yeah.
But your window's closing quickly.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. They're you better believe it. It's closing quickly. Well, I'm going to pitch it to veteran sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons for his feature Mark It Down, after I remind you that you're listening to WKCE 105.1 FM and 1180 AM Mid-Century Radio. Marcus?
Well, I was picking on soccer because we got soccer in the house this morning.
Yes, indeed we do.
Alcoa Soccer's agreed to join us this morning. Assistant Coach Kim Brown is here, and we have Jacob Knight and Bacon Lauterbach also joining us. Guys, thanks for coming in this morning. Coach, let me start with you. It's felt like it's a tough season so far.
You know, don't look at our record right now, because what we are trying to do this year is to establish a precedent for where we want our new administration to take our team. And one of the things we've done is we've scheduled up, because you only move up when you schedule up. So as we move into our district play, and then later as we get into the postseason, we think you're going to see some amazing things from our soccer team.
And I was going to lead into that, because when you look at some of the recent losses, and Sevier County and Maryville, the ones that kind of pop out, but you're playing up in those games, and you're playing good programs that are not just good in the upper tier, but really good state contenders.
Right, and wait till this week when we go up against Bearden. So, you know, we're really playing some teams that are going to help us to get
Most teams in their
better.
district don't want to play Bearden, so it's always good when
Correct. So we may be crazy or we may be state champs. We'll just sort of see which way it takes us.
Well, I guess as a coaching staff, you know you're scheduling up and you're scheduling tough games, and you know you're going to take some lumps. How do you keep these guys from getting discouraged by those when it comes in? Because the ones you've got to win are in district, and the ones that are 2 or 3 weeks from now in the district tournament.
You know, that's something that we talk about with the players often, and these guys we've brought today are used to that type of play, where you are against some really tough teams, and you go into tournaments, and you play hard, and you play fast, and you play a lot of games. And so one of the things that we've really tried to encourage them is to see the big picture, that you only get better when you play teams that are better than you. If you're always playing the competition that's equal to you, you're never going to take the program to where you want it to be. So as try to encouraging them to see that there's a big picture at the end, that we really have a way to get there, we think.
Jacob, I'll pick on you first. You got the when you walk off the field and you've taken the loss, you're not thinking of things Coach and I were just saying, that, oh, well, we learned something good tonight. How long does it take before you all kind of take the lessons from a loss and start applying those into practice and take them into another game?
Well, it's almost immediate. Like I think as captains, me and Bacon, we have to really set the example for the team. And if we're being looked at as the players who say, oh, well, that's a loss, and we can't come back from that, and we portray that to the team, then that's just not good for our team. So if we keep lingering on that, then it's going to be bad for our team. So as quick as we can, just use that as motivation for the next game.
And how much does it kind of carry over? Because I'm going to pick on the Maryville game a little bit. You know all those guys. You play with some of those guys on club teams where they're on the same roster with you. There's got to be a little bit of back and forth when you have those rivalry type of games, and it's got to be tough when you're walking off scoreless.
It is, but that's just part of the game, and it's all fun, and the Alcoa Maryville rivalry, we enjoy it. All the players enjoy it. Of course, we got there to win, but they were a really good side, so I think that it was a good lesson for us, and we'll use that for the future.
Bacon, what's been the transition this year for? I mean, have you all had to? How you've adjusted to Coach Bird, and how are you taking what's been the biggest change for you guys?
It's positive. Last year wasn't as positive as it is this year, and the coaches, they all just try to build up all the players, from the lowest of low to the highest of high. They're always with us and have our backs. and that shows on the field because all the players on the field, varsity, JV, we all have each other's backs on the field.
Well, and Jacob kind of touched on it. If you're wearing that captain sleeve and you're kind of the in between the players and the coaches a little bit, have you all had to take some roles and do some of that communication between the team and the coaches there?
Definitely, definitely.
Is that something that you enjoy, or is that something like, man, I wonder how they used to do this?
I'm getting used to it still. I'm getting used to it.
Coach, when it sounds like you've got some good leadership here. That had to be a good foundation when you were looking forward to this season as to where your strengths were.
Absolutely. The quality of players that we have returning from last year, as well as just their commitment to the program and to soccer in general, is taking Alcoa to some new places. And so these guys are juniors this year, so it means we get them back again next year. And they've really settled into the idea that, hey, we are leaders on this team, and on the field we make decisions and help the others to see what they can achieve as well.
So we always do this because we're still in that point in with soccer in the U.S. that we still have a sizable population who does not understand what some of these positions do. So I'm going to put you guys on the spot. Tell me the position and tell me what the responsibility is, and if you can equate it to something in another sport. And I'll start with Jacob, but like you're a defender, right?
I play attacking mid for high school team.
So explain what that means for people who only see it as the guy who puts the goal and there's a guy who tries to stop the goal. Where does that fit in that bigger piece?
So, of course, you have the defense that everyone plays defense, whether it's from the back of the field to the front of the field. Everyone's playing defense, and everyone's also playing offense. But my position is in the center of the field, so I'm primarily playing I would primarily like to play forward with the ball and play offense, try to score goals, try to make assists to people who can score. But it also comes with a lot of defensive responsibility because along with my other attacking mid and defensive midfield, which is the center of the field, we have to work together to control the offense and the defense because, we don't want our defense, our back line with, Bacon and the others to have to defend the entire game because it's not how you play the game. So my position, primarily we just try to distribute the ball to the forwards, which are the left wing, striker, and right wing. That's the formation we play. So it's 4 defenders, 3 midfielders, and 3 offense. So the midfield's in the middle. I'm one of those middle guys. And like I said, we do play defense as well as we do offense. So basically all over the field, but primarily just in the middle of the field.
If we had we were talking basketball and we doubled the number of players, you're the point guards going both ways.
Yes.
Out there in the middle because you're setting up the offense, but you're also dropping back to make sure nobody comes flying in for a layup the other way.
Right, that's right.
And then the guy who's absolutely making sure they don't get down there. What defenders get to do? Like how much contact do you all get to make, and do you get to flip sides, or are you sitting back there with the goalie most of the time?
I sit back most of the time, but we also have a lot of leeway to go up because Jacob trusts us, the coaches trust me, and everything. They trust our entire back line. So if we see an opportunity to make it up the field, we can make it, and the midfield, Reed Gossett, Leo, or Jacob, will drop in and cover for us.
So who makes the defensive calls? Does that always come from the keeper, or does that come from someplace else in defense? That comes from you.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you set it back to the keeper? How do you signal them how you all are shifting?
Just communicate. That's the main goal of soccer. You just got to communicate, and then hopefully your team will listen to you. And sometimes if they don't, that's when a goal gets scored on. But it's just communication.
Coach, you brought these two in, but give me some shout-out names. Who else are we looking for on this roster? Because you didn't bring me the striker. So who is it that you look to in a minute to go and you need a goal?
Well, we've got these guys, are the spine. One of the things I like to think of it is the guys that are in the center are kind of the spine, and so we like to get the ball to his twin brother Andrew, who is making some goals for us. They mentioned Reed Gossett and Leo Santos. Leo is a 10th grader, and he's playing with One Knox Club. And so he's got a lot of talent, and he's done the last few games really come on strong and looking really good for us. Who else you want to get the ball to for a goal? Jaden
Cappy.
Yeah, Cappy. Yeah, we have an exchange student from Spain who's here right now, and he's just lighting the place up. He's really added a lot of leadership in that he's showing these guys how to be leaders as well, because he's come from some experience on some teams that really don't compare to anything here in the States.
And on the backside, you've been trying a couple keepers. Is that what I understood? Or are you rotating keepers? Or
we'll let Bacon talk about keepers.
Oh, we have 5 keepers, and they're all pretty decent keepers.
So everybody's still trying to.
We graduated an awesome keeper last year, Jeremiah Hester, and so our position is kind of up for grabs. And so we've got a junior and then some younger players, just trying to see who it is that can rise to the top. And so giving everybody some opportunities to do that.
And you got to ask, is that something the coaching staff is evaluating during practices going into a match?
During practices, during games, during our sleep. Everybody's trying to figure out what's our combination that's going to really propel our team.
And I guess, like we said, this is where you do that, because 2 weeks from now you want to know who you want to go to and what situation, who you want to put back there, right?
Correct.
Well, so you got these lofty expectations because it's Alcoa soccer, and you've got a tradition going back decades now of being a premier program. Any weight on the coaching staff to kind of be like, man, we got a lot to live up to here?
Alcoa sports have had a great run, and it is just an honor to be a part of that program. And my mind is that soccer still has ways to go, because we have the ability to do that in our current district. Next year, things are going to be different because we're going to move up in classification. So it's really on these guys this year to take advantage of the fact that we are in a smaller classification, and we'd love to have a state championship trophy as well. So that's our goal this year, and then we'll deal with next year.
Coach, you have to break down the next 2 weeks. Is it schedule-wise? Is it district heavy running to the tournament, or is it still a mix of in and out?
We've still got a mix of some things. Our district is not a strong district, and so we're not even sure if one of the teams is still in our district. That's kind of what happens when you get Cosby. And so we've still got our Gatlinburg-Pittman, who's our main opponent, we'll say. So we've got them at the end of this week. So we feel like we've got a lot to learn, but also got a lot to prove, and we got the ability to do that.
So we'll set that up. Is GP home or away?
Home.
Yeah.
What night is it?
Friday. I want to say it's not the 21st.
Yeah, so it's the next one. Yeah,
it's next Friday.
Yeah, Friday week,
Friday.
Okay, so to come out and support the Tornadoes, you need to be over there.
Oh, we're going to do everything. We'll have it pumped up. We'll make it to where our student body is out and rolling. Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you guys coming in. We wish you the best of luck. The show goes until the end of May, so if you make it to state, you got an invitation to come back. So we'll work that in, but we'll just put one more thing on you to get to state, one more reason.
Perfect.
But we appreciate you guys coming in. Wish you the best of luck. And Mike, let's go ahead and turn the page.
Okay, Marcus, we'll take a timeout here, and when we return, the Anderson Lumber Company Player of the Week segment will be up. You're listening to the Goatee Sports Page, Blount County Sports Voice, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
The Roger L. Newman Company began in 1984 with a vision of providing Blount County with excellent heating and cooling service. Mr. Newman also wanted a real business. No gimmicks and no high-pressure sales. They just fix it or replace it. They want to stay within your budget and make you comfortable. Their motto still stands true today. Call us first, we'll be there. Call Roger L. Newman Company at 982-5446 or visit online at rogerlnewman.com. Cooler temperatures are approaching. Upgrade your furnace now for as little as $50 a month.
Your newspaper? That's right. The Daily Times is your newspaper, tailored to where you live, emphasizing the things that affect you and keeping track of the people and players in our community. The award-winning Daily Times can be delivered each morning right to your door or inbox with the latest in local news and sports. For a 30-day free trial offer, call 981-1100 and begin enjoying your life, your times, every day with the Daily Times.
Dunkin' has what you need to conquer the day. So if you want to go from, I don't got this, to, I got this, well, then get this. A bold, smooth espresso drink from Dunkin'. Like a layered velvety caramel macchiato, a rich chocolatey mocha latte, or a creamy non-dairy oat milk latte. Because this day isn't going to conquer itself. No, you're going to do that. Take a sip of You Got This with Dunkin' Espresso drinks. Order ahead on the app plus earn rewards. America runs on Dunkin'. Price and participation may vary.
For over 50 years and 3 generations, the people of Blount County have trusted Stevenson Tire with their vehicles and their families. Our mission has always been simple: to provide quality products at reasonable prices with exceptional customer service. Featuring tire products from Michelin, BF Goodrich, Uniroyal, Bridgestone, Firestone, and Yokohama, Stevenson Tire also offers alignment and brake services at affordable prices. Stevenson Tire Company, 2411 East Broadway Avenue in Maryville. Call 983-1621 or online at stevensonTire.net. Waters Equipment is your East Tennessee New Holland agriculture and construction dealer. Waters Equipment has been serving Blount County for 48 years and has 2 locations in Maryville for sales and service for New Holland equipment. Offering shop and field service for trucks and equipment of all brands, Waters offers equipment rentals for New Holland skid steer, Mini X, and tractors. Call 238-9000 for your rental needs. That's 238-9000. Waters Equipment New Holland. Excellence in service.
Since 1925, Anderson Lumber in Alcoa has proudly served and supported our local communities. But did you know Anderson Lumber is so much more than a lumber store? You can stop in anytime and see our incredible kitchen showroom. From floors to cabinets and everything in between, Anderson Lumber's experts can help you design your dream kitchen. And then our install team will make it a reality. For anything home, we welcome you to visit Anderson Lumber in Alcoa or shop over 67,000 items online at AndersonLumberCompany.com. Anderson Lumber, since 1925.
Welcome back to the Blue Tick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards, and it's time for the Anderson Lumber Company Player of the Week segment. And Marcus and Coach Trail and Donnie, we're going to kind of go off the cuff here a little bit in this segment and talk about some different things. I want to talk something that's not quite athletic, but last week I had the privilege, I guess my wife and I, of going out to McGee Tyson Airport to witness the honor flight, you know, where they fly the veterans from Knoxville to Washington, D.C., and we had a friend on that flight, Monty Callahan, who was a Vietnam War veteran. He was in artillery over in Vietnam, and he took part on that. I'd never been out to the function, and we went out there, Deb and I, with his wife, Vicki, and it was a very impressive thing, Coach Trail. They must have had 700 to 1,000 people waiting on these guys to get back from their day in Washington, D.C. I just thought it was a great ceremony for these guys. You know, a lot of those Vietnam veterans, you know, they didn't get that welcome home back.
No,
exactly.
That the World War II veterans got, and the World War I veterans, and some of the others that served. So I just thought it was just well put on. It was well deserved by all of those men and women that got off of that plane, and it was just a very impressive ceremony, and I just think it was a great thing. I'd never been around anything like that. Marcus, have you ever been out to see that?
I've actually have gone out a couple of times back when I was early with the paper and helped cover a couple of them, and you know, it's been a long running program, and I think it's a great program, and I guess part of it is, I mean, because of when some of these guys served, you know, travel wasn't as easy as it is right now, where you just hop on a plane and anybody can fly anywhere. Yeah. So the number of them who had never been to D.C., never seen some of the memorials, that's always just kind of hit me as wow, because I mean, they took us when we were kids in school. We went up to see them. So
sure,
for them to be able to go up and see the World War II Memorial and see the wall and see the Korean Memorial,
right.
I think that's important. I think if you have that service record, that's something you need to be able to do, and I'm glad that they provide honorary gives them that opportunity. And you know, it's not just getting them there, but they take care of them while they're there and chaperone them around the town and get them back here and make something special out of it.
Yeah, Monty and Vicky were both graduates of Fulton High School, and they were both over there when Lon Hersman, Coach Hersman, was over there coaching, so they were familiar with him. But you know, Coach Trail, when I was playing ball over there and you were coaching, you know, Vietnam was raging.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and you remember they'd have the newspapers. They had the Sentinel Journal up there in the lobby of Gibbs Hall, and you couldn't pick that paper up any day the whole 4 years from 69 to 73 when I was over there, to where Vietnam wasn't on the pages. And there was a lot of pro athletes. You know, Rocky Blyer, you know, he played for the Pittsburgh Steelers. You know, he was over there and decorated and came back and won a Super Bowl.
Right.
But it
Did
was.
you see that thing where he went back? Rocky Blyer went back to Vietnam, and it showed him going through, walking. He had a guide. Of course, he was up in age when he went back, and he was talking about this guy had gotten killed here, and
he remembered.
He remembered, you know, and he was just walking, and of course it was nothing but, you know, hills and valleys, and I watched that program, and I tell you what, it was a touching program because it really, he said, people can talk about it, but you never lose it.
Yeah.
I mean, he was just as mentally sharp, could tell you where this happened and this happened.
And you know, when you think about you coaching over there and me playing over there, compared to what those guys were going through over there in Vietnam, our worries on the basketball court and the football field was minor compared to what those guys were facing on a day-to-day basis over there.
Well, you can't even
there's
imagine.
no comparison.
No, there's no comparison at all.
Yeah, I was telling Monty and Vicky there the other night that my war story when I was a boy. I was probably in the 5th or 6th grade, and I'd come home from the boys' club, and my mom was in the other room of the house, and she told my dad, said, "Well, Bob, you better go back and talk to Mike. He's upset." And he goes, "Well, what's he upset about?" He says, I don't know. Better go back and talk to him. So he goes back there, and I'm all upset in my room, summertime, and he says, "What seems to be the problem?" I said, "Well, I was down at the boys' club today, and they were making fun of me. You know, they were calling me names and so forth, and it was really upsetting me." And he looked at me and he goes, "They's a calling you names." Said, "Well, I was in World War II and got shot at." Said, "Names?" Said, "Go pick your glove up and get your basketball and get on out of here." And that's what I did. And after that, I never again showed very much motion at any time. But I remember walking out of the house, you know, out the back door, and my mom said, "Bob, did you get it all worked out?" Said, "Yeah, it wasn't no problem at all." Said, "I just went back there and said a few words and said it's okay."
Took care of it.
So that was my war story. I mean, that's hard to come back with anything when somebody calling you names compared to getting shot. You know. Yeah. And wow. Coach Trail, your parents and my parents, you know, they served. My mom or my dad, you know, he served in World War II, and most of my friends' parents served in World War II. So when they came back, you know, they ran a pretty tight ship. I mean, the families, there wasn't a lot of putting up. With a lot of putting up, it was like, you know, you're going to do what we tell you and shut up. You know, we're going to because they felt like they had an obligation. You know, they lost friends over there, and they had an obligation to raise their families the way they should have been raised, because these other guys that didn't make it back didn't have that opportunity.
That's right.
And they really felt that obligation. And boy, I'll tell you, it was. You know, you'd go play. I used to tell stories about playing basketball games in high school. I thought I'd have a pretty good night, and I'd go home and I'd say, "Dad, well, what do you think?" He said, "Well, you did all right." You know, it was never, you know, it was always, but I'll tell you a few things you can work on. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that was the generation. It wasn't none of this, you know, babying and patting on the back and, you know, making you feel good all the time. It was kind of, I guess, tough love, wasn't it? More or less.
Yeah. My dad was in Okinawa.
Yeah.
And he came back. Everybody that knew him before course, before I did, and they said he was a changed man when he came back. There was no bull crap about him. He was point blank, do this, do that, and that was it.
Yeah.
I mean, and then you know, as a child, it never crossed my mind that really he was still in the Army, his thoughts. And, of course, I didn't know enough to even appreciate it at the time. But he was it changed his whole personality of the way he looked at things. And because he'd seen so many, well, you know what Okinawa was. I mean, it was friends that he had over there that got killed, and then he came back, and it was almost like he said, you need to appreciate your life.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
he had
I'll
seen
say
so
this.
many.
Could you see your dad being real proud of you if you come home and brought your trophy? Couldn't you just say, well, everybody got a trophy?
Yeah.
I mean,
I was thinking the same thing, Marcus.
I don't
everybody gets a trophy days.
I don't
How would
see,
they have
I don't
reacted?
see them being real impressed by that.
No,
No,
Lord, no.
No.
Lord, you know, they weren't very impressed by it. You know, you'd bring a grade card home, you know, and you thought you had a pretty good grade card, and they'd go, well, now, you know, you can do a little bit better in English, or you can do a little bit better in math here, you know, it's not quite as good as it needs to be, and there was always something. There was always something there. There was no end result. It wasn't like, oh, man, you've really played great, you know, you've reached the top. There wasn't none of that, you know. It was, you were always moving up the mountain, so to speak.
I had two brothers, and we lived out on a farm. And my dad, oh, my gosh, I tell you what, I chopped cotton out there, and every day. I mean, every day. It wasn't no, and he'd say, you don't even know what work is. I'd say, well, I guess I don't. But anyway.
But you felt like you did at that point.
I felt like I was doing a lot of work.
Yeah.
And he just said, you don't know how tough it can get.
Yeah.
And, you know, at the time, it just didn't hit home. But there was three boys in my family, an older brother and a younger brother. And we all three went through college on scholarships in football. And I said, he asked me what was I doing. I said, I'm trying to do anything to get off of this farm.
Yeah.
I've chopped enough cotton. I said, then my brother, our oldest brother, now he was a great player and had scholarships to Miami and Notre Dame, every big school around. And he came back and he farmed. He said, you know, I'm going to come back and farm. And he said, you on the farm? Well, he ended up owning about 13,000 or 14,000 acres of land. And he did. He farmed till he retired.
Yeah.
But that's what he wanted to do. And that was, and my young brother he was on the, when they won a national championship, he was the tight end on that team.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, all these things in your life, military, I went in the military. Right. I was 4 years, I went through 4 years, but I got my back hurt, and they kicked me out of the military. And if not, I'd have been over there too. But I told him, I told the guy in college there, I said, I've hurt my back. I mean, I got hit in the back. Where the old theory was, when you tackle somebody, you stood them up. They'd say, don't tackle him, stand him up.
Yeah.
So everybody could, get a lick
That's
on
right.
him. And, well, somebody put the lick on me instead of the guy I was trying to hold up.
Yeah.
And, but that kicked me out of the Army. You know, the guy said, you can either have an operation with a 30% chance that you'll walk again, or you can get out.
Yeah.
So I'm
that was
out.
like Forrest Gump. That was
Yeah.
that $1 million injury to your back, but you never saw that $1 million.
No, but
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I took it and got out of there. I'll say
Yeah.
that.
Hey, we had a guy in my hometown, Dave Ferris was his name, and I'll never forget. He played basketball at Greenfield High School back in the 40s. He was a great player. They went as far as any team Greenfield ever had. They went all the way to semi-state.
Yeah.
A lot of people thought they had the team to win the whole
Yeah.
state that year. And I'm sitting there eating with him with my dad lunch years ago,
Yeah.
and he looks up and he says, "Mike, I'm going to tell you something." He says, "I was at the Battle of the Bulge." I said, "You was at the Battle of the Bulge?" He says, "I sure was." I don't remember a thing about it, but I can remember everything I know, everything about that semi-state game that we got beat when I was in high school, but I don't remember a thing about being at the Battle of the Bulge, and I'm going, holy mackerel, Indiana basketball really must be a powerful deal, you know?
He didn't remember the
Yeah.
balls, but he remembered that game.
Exactly. I thought that was great stuff. Hey, let's talk a little bit about, Donnie, let's talk a little bit about Bristol. They had that dirt race up there. I want to get your opinion on that up there last week.
Well,
Was it dirt or was it mud?
Well, it was
a little of both. Yeah, it was mud, all right.
good thing or bad thing? They put it in because of they decided to go to dirt to increase the crowds and so forth. They had pretty good weather up there, but
Yeah, they
they're
did.
not drawing very well. And that place, when they had the pavement back in the day, you couldn't get a ticket up there
true.
for the spring race.
That's true.
What's going on?
Well,
That dust, I can tell you what's
it's-
going on.
I got an article in that about in headlines. They usually run that thing up there, and the guy that wins is not a dirt track racer, but it was this time.
Yeah.
I agree with some of the drivers
It's-
though.
well-
They basically say, yeah, we don't have a problem with doing a dirt race, but why do you have to do it at Bristol? Bristol's challenging enough on concrete.
It
Why
is.
are
You're
you
right.
taking that? Because there's just not that many short tracks left on the schedule.
No.
And Bristol's
Going to another one this weekend.
I mean, I don't think they have a fall date this year, do they? For Bristol?
I don't think so.
So if you're only going to go to Bristol once, why are you going to do it dirt? I mean, I can see if
Yeah.
you're going twice,
I know.
you can do one of them with dirt. But you've got so many of these cookie cutter tracks. Couldn't you do one of those with dirt and let Bristol be Bristol?
Yeah, because Bristol's you're right. It's a monster anyway. But well,
I don't see. That's a lot of expense bringing that dirt in there.
Oh, yeah,
That's
and
not
then
a
getting
cheap
rid of
deal.
it.
And you're looking at the crowd they had there, and you're thinking, you're struggling as a track, drawing, and it doesn't seem to be paying off for you.
I still think it's too early in the schedule for the spring race
because of the weather and everything.
Yeah.
Well, it's rained 9 out of 10.
Nine
Nine out of the
at
last
least,
10
yeah.
years, we've had either
It
a
has.
delay or it's rained the day before or it's messed up the race. I mean, they don't even try to run all three anymore.
Yeah.
They used to come up here and do truck, Xfinity, and NASCAR, but now we're just down to 2 because they know that one of them's going to get rained out.
Is NASCAR searching for some answers?
They are,
I mean,
yes.
as far as attendance and TV and so forth, the reason I'm asking that is, it looks like they're pulling out a lot of gimmicks. They've gone to street courses.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to race at Chicago next year, and of course they always go to Watkins Glen and race, and they're racing down in the Circuit of Americas down in Texas, which is a
Right.
road course down there, and usually NASCAR's been oval. I mean, that's what they were built on, but they're
that's
looking
right.
at street races and more road races, and then they've got some Formula One drivers coming here to drive some of the street courses. I just don't know. And in Indianapolis, the crowds have dropped off so bad at Indianapolis that they have changed that race from the oval to the road course.
To the road courses. And they're getting better crowds at the road courses than they are at the
Yeah.
ovals, except for
Yeah.
Indy, of course.
Yeah.
And but now you're right. NASCAR's looking for something that works for them.
Yeah, they're searching.
They are.
They're searching.
And, we'll talk about that a little bit more
yeah.
when I give you.
Uh,
give you
Well, I
this
got an idea
article
for you,
I've
Mike.
got.
If you hit where they're going with the road courses, so how far away are we from them lining up out here on Pillsbury Parkway? It's like, here's $50. First one in Nashville wins.
Yeah.
We don't care how you get there, but this is all you got for gas
It's like
money.
the cannonball run.
There you go.
I mean, is that really such
There
a
you
bad
go.
idea?
There you go.
Remember that old movie?
I mean,
Cannonball Run?
you could have people lined up and paying for seats on every overpass between here and Nashville to
Yeah,
watch the
waving
race.
flags off the overpasses.
Yeah. Well,
that'd be fun.
IndyCar is at Long Beach this weekend.
Yep.
And I know a lot of people aren't familiar around here with Long Beach, but it's the greatest street course in the United States. Has a rich history. The first race was held there in 1975, and of course, Formula One raced there initially. It was on the Formula One circuit, and IndyCar's been there since 2009. But I looked at some of the people that have won there. Unbelievable. Looks like a Hall of Fame. Clay Regazzoni, Mario Andretti, Giles Villeneuve, Nelson Piquet, Alan Jones, Niki Lauda, John Watson, Michael Andretti, Al Unser Jr., Danny Sullivan, Paul Tracy, Helio Castroneves, Juan Pablo Montoya, Will Power, and Scott Dixon. Tremendous course out there, tremendous history, tradition. There's going to be 180,000 people out there.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a street course.
Yep.
That's a street course, but it's a famous one. And, of course, that's going to be on NBC tomorrow at 3 o'clock. And it's kind of an interesting race out there.
I'll be watching.
There's a lot of history, a lot of celebrities out there. And then next week they go to Barber. And
that's a good
week
place.
after next they go to Barber, and then they head to Indianapolis for
that'd be a good
for
one.
For the Indianapolis.
I like
500.
Barber.
Yeah. But they've had two races. Marcus Ericsson won at St. Pete, and then Joseph Newgarden won at Texas. That's what we got coming up. All right, time for a break, and when we return, it's Sports Headlines with Donnie Moore and the Tennessee Smokies Spotlight. You're listening to the Sports Page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
Aubrey's is known for real comfort, real food, real good. But remember, Aubrey's is also really into Blount County. Aubrey's Maryville has been a strong supporter of local schools and sports programs for more than 15 years. From baseball to football, dance teams, and marching bands, Aubrey's has helped schools and youth programs generate thousands of dollars. It's easy for us to do because it's the right thing to do. So the next time you're looking to choose a place to eat, we hope you'll choose Aubrey's. Real comfort, real food, real good. See what's on the menu at aubreysrestaurants.com.
We all want our loved ones to be safe. Denso in Maryville is at the forefront of creating technology for safer vehicles. Join the automotive industry with Denso in a fast, challenging, clean, and safe environment. They offer great benefits and competitive pay, as well as a convenient on-site healthcare facility, cafes, fitness center, and more. Start your future now. Entry-level production positions start at $16 an hour for second or third shift. Visit densocareers.com/Maryville to learn more and apply.
Merlin's Music World in Maryville is owned and operated by Dylan Davis and has been a fixture in Maryville since 1987. Guitars, amplifiers, lessons, sound system, and video system installations are products available at Merlin's. Merlin's also offers a 24-track digital recording studio featuring audio engineer Rusty Chambers. Visit Merlin's at 1920 East Lamar Alexander Parkway or call 977-0093.
Make the big play with MVP Money Tools from Knoxville TBA Employees Credit Union. With KTVA ECUs, contactless debit card, direct deposits that hit up to 2 days early, credit cards that earn cashback reward points, and loans with competitive rates. Add all four MVP Money Tools to build your financial roster. It's everything you need to win financially.
Join us now.
Federally insured by NCUA. Equal Opportunity Housing Lender. Restrictions may apply. Call for details. 800-467-5427.
The Blue Tick Tavern is home to the tastiest pizza in Blount County. Try our signature Broadway barbecue pizza, grilled chicken and red onions covered in mounds of mozzarella. Or sink your teeth into our one-of-a-kind chicken and bacon pizza, made with an olive oil base, grilled chicken, bacon, red onions, and covered in Brussels petals. The Blue Tick Tavern also has salads, sandwiches, and the area's largest beer selection. Regularly recognized as the best pizza in Blount County, it's the Blue Tick Tavern, located at 128 West Broadway in downtown Maryville. Waters Equipment is your East Tennessee New Holland agriculture and construction dealer. Waters Equipment has been serving Blount County for 48 years and has 2 locations in Maryville for sales and service for New Holland equipment. Offering shop and field service for trucks and equipment of all brands, Waters offers equipment rentals for New Holland skid steer, Mini X, and tractors. Call 238-9000 for your rental needs. That's 238-9000. Waters Equipment, New Holland. Excellence in service. For over.
Welcome back to the Blue Tick Tavern in Maryville. This is Mike Edwards, and here with this week's sports headlines is Donnie Moore. And Donnie, you got a few of them?
We got some, Mike.
All right.
Yeah, let's get to them. Well, before Tuesday, the Miami Marlins held a dubious honor. They were the only team in Major League Baseball to not have a player to hit for the cycle, ever. Well, now with an eighth-inning single against the Philadelphia Phillies, Andrew Bellotti, this was the pitcher, on a 2-1 count, Luis Arias became the first in Miami's 8-4 win over the Phillies at Citizens Bank Park. The Marlins' sweet-swinging second baseman is the reigning American League batting champ and has now further cemented his legacy at Miami. Through 12 games, he leads Major League Baseball with a batting average of .537 through only 12 games, but man, he is killing it.
Yeah,
he hit for the
check
cycle
back in a month.
Tuesday
We'll
night.
see what he's doing.
Oh yeah.
Well,
oh yeah.
I tell you what, when I was a senior in high school, American Legion baseball, I hit .716 for the year.
Man, I'll tell you, Ray, you were killing it. You were killing it. But no longer has a team not having a player hit for the cycle now. That memory has erased. The three finalists for Most Valuable Player of the National Basketball Association were announced yesterday, and a couple of names that have traditionally been on that short list are glaringly absent this year. The finalists are Joel Embiid, Nikola Jokic, and Giannis Antetokounmpo. You didn't think I was going to go without the absentees, right?
I'm impressed that you listed. You got those pronunciations correct.
Yeah, I bet I did my homework. Well, the absentees. Who do you think?
Well, you've got no LeBron.
No LeBron and no Stephon Curry. They're usually on that list, aren't they, by this time?
I'm not surprised given their seasons this year.
No, they've not had great seasons. You're
One
right.
one of those guys in there averaged
Embiid's got the best averages since Wilt.
44 or something.
He's got the best
Yeah.
big man averages since Chamberlain.
Is he the odds-on favorite?
If
you think?
I was voting, I would vote. He would have mine. Just some of the performances he's had this year.
Yeah, he's had some phenomenal performances.
I mean, he has just carried people. He's carried that team on some nights where they had no business winning, and he's put up 50 points.
Who is that?
Embiid.
Joel Embiid.
I mean, he's been good, but this has just been a phenomenal
It
year
really
for him.
has.
He's never won it before.
No.
Well, finalists for Rookie of the Year include Paolo Banchero, Jalen Williams, and Walker Kessler. Who'd be your vote there, Marcus?
That one's tougher.
It really is. Yeah,
it's so hard for a rookie to make an impact anymore, and it's hard to judge one against the other because of the teams. Because sometimes they'll come in. If you're on a good team, it's hard to make an impact. But if you're on you might be actually playing better when you are on the floor.
This is true. Well, finalists for Clutch Player of the Year. Clutch Player of the Year.
Mike Edwards.
Are De'Aaron Fox. Wait a minute now, did I get that wrong? Jimmy Fox and DeMar DeRozan.
Is any Americans playing basketball?
There are, but it's hard. It's
Walker Kessler, Jalen Williams. Those are American names.
It's like
they're all Americans.
It's like the Premier League in soccer. The NBA is the ultimate. I mean, no matter where you are in the world, that's where you want to play.
Yeah,
is
right.
in the NBA.
You want to come to the United States and play on the NBA.
Yeah.
Mike, here's some sad news. Justin Owen, a veteran sprint car racer from Ohio, died Saturday from injuries he sustained in a massive crash during the USAC Sprint Car National Championship event at Lawrenceburg Speedway in Lawrenceburg, Indiana. He was 26. The Harrison, Ohio native was running a qualifying lap for the event when his car slid up the track on turn 3 and slammed into the wall. The car then went airborne and flipped numerous times. USAC immediately red flagged the event and 30 minutes later canceled the race. Owens' death was announced shortly after midnight.
Yeah, sprint car racing has always been dangerous sport, and USAC has sponsored those races. And of course, in the old days, all the IndyCar drivers drove on dirt. They drove in those sprint car races. Took a lot of good drivers' lives, but they had made that relatively safe. I mean, you know, the roll cages.
Right.
And they've made some great improvements in sprint cars, but most of these tracks don't have the safety barriers.
Right.
There's still concrete walls.
That's
you know,
right. And when those cars flip,
they don't give
numerous times. They don't give.
Those concrete walls don't give, and
Right.
that's very unfortunate that happened. But they have cut down on a lot of fatalities in the sprint car racing because of what we've talked about here, the safety of the cars. And boy, those roll cages, they had back in the day. They had no roll cages. You know, their necks and heads were above the deal, and you know, you get upside down on the dirt, and you know, you're in trouble, boy. You better make sure that car lands upright, or you're gone.
Oh yeah,
You know?
your head's gonna hit
Exactly,
first.
exactly. That's what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what would happen is when they would get upside down, their arms, if you see any of the old photographs, their arms
they come
are
flailing
extended
out.
way up in the air like this. They're just at the mercy of that car coming
Being a
down in the
roller
right
coaster.
way. Yeah, Johnny Rutherford back, I think in 60, I don't know, early 60s there, 63 or whatever. He was involved in a crash at Eldora, and he broke both his arms. If you ever get a chance to look at that on the internet, they got pictures of it. That car is probably 15 or 20 feet up in the air going outside the track, and his arms are way up in the air like that, and it came back down upright, and it broke both his arms, and he was out of the 500 that year. It happened in the spring.
Wow.
He was very fortunate. Very fortunate.
Very fortunate.
Well, going back to an article here on some topic we discussed a little bit, getting more into detail here. Finally, a dirt track racer wins the dirt race at Bristol. Kyle Larson, a dirt racer himself, won the first stage after starting from the pole, but had a couple of spins in stage 2 and drove into the garage after colliding with Ryan Preece. That opened the door for the eventual winner, Christopher Bell. Tyler Reddick finished second, followed in order by Austin Dillon, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., and Chase Briscoe. This weekend, NASCAR stays on the short tracks and heads to Virginia when the Cup Series runs at Martinsville tomorrow.
Yeah. One other comment about that dirt. In Indy cars back in the 50s and the 60s, that's where you trained.
Yeah.
You know, you didn't train on asphalt. Those guys came up on dirt.
That's
and
right.
Drove dirt cars. In fact, in some of the early races in the 50s in Indianapolis, up until about 1964, there were usually several dirt cars in the Indianapolis 500.
Yeah.
They were actually cars that would run on the dirt, and they would run them in the Indianapolis 500.
You know, they started on the beach at Daytona.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they started on sand.
Yeah, the NASCAR did.
Yeah, NASCAR did.
started on
Sure
sand
did.
down there.
Well, here another sad note. Ernie Shavers, whose hard-punching boxing career spanned the years from 1969 to 1995, died Thursday in Virginia at the home of one of his daughters at the age of 78. Shavers' career record was 74 wins, 14 losses, and 1 draw, with 68 knockouts. In March of 1979, Shavers knocked out Ken Norton in the first round in what was considered one of his finest victories. He fought Ali.
Yeah.
He fought some of the best in the business.
Yeah, I watched him box a lot of times.
Yeah, Ernie Shavers, hard puncher.
Yeah.
Boy, he could turn your lights out with
And
one
he d-
punch.
and
a
he
lot of times.
did.
And he did. He sure did. He turned out old Norton's. I mean, first round.
Yeah.
Cleaned his clock. Heavyweight boxer, but died Thursday in Virginia, age of 78. Well, that's all for this week's sports headlines. Let's bring the Tennessee Smokies spotlight into focus. Back to you, Gunner.
Hey, we're back on the Goatee Sports page, and this is Mike Edwards, and I'm here with Coach Trail and Marcus Fitzsimmons and Donnie Moore. Tennessee's annual orange and white football game will take place this afternoon. A lot of enthusiasm is surrounding this football program after the great year it had last season. The Vols are coming off an 11-2 campaign with a finishing Orange Bowl victory over Clemson. Vols led the country in offense, averaging 42.7 points and just shy of 500 yards per game. And game time this afternoon set for 2:30, and there's a charge for $5, which will go to a charitable, I believe, organization that they've got going on over there. But Coach Trail, the only thing I've got to say right now going into this and looking forward to next fall, everybody loves everybody else right now, don't they?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Everybody loves everybody.
That's everybody's happy.
Yeah, bud. Yeah. But this program, the last couple of years, Marcus, you'd have to say confidence has been reestablished. There's respect for the coaching staff. Offense has come into play with the philosophy of scoring a lot of points, upgrading that area. Recruiting's on the rise. Going to probably have another top 10 recruiting class coming in here. Fans are back on boards. 70% season ticket sales. They say that's a couple of years ahead of schedule, and the program has become relevant on a national level, and a lot of enthusiasm right now in the football program, huh?
Well, we've always said this fan base is always hungry, and this is the build-up because they're going to be impressed because we're going to see the guys throw the ball and do some stuff today and have some fun, and we go from there into summer to all we do is talk about it from up to SEC Media Days, and by the time we get to August, some of the fans have already picked out a way for them to go 13-0 and win it all, just betting off this and this happened, and
including Charlie.
I mean, it's fun. I mean, I think there's some things that you could see today. They're going to be fun and interesting. You could pick out a spring practice. None of it, I would say, is going to be relevant in August, but. The one I would like to see, and I'll probably turn on ESPN Plus. I'm not going to go over there to get a digital ticket, but slot receiver, you got Squirrel White, who's 5'10", and the guy he's competing with is 6'5", the transfer from Oregon. If you're a defensive back and you don't know if you're going to get the 5'10" or the 6'5" guy to defend, that's a heck of a change.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Well, they should call one chipmunk, the other one squirrel.
Yeah.
That way we kind of know who's who.
Coach Trail, the fans, the coaching staff probably got what they'd like to see get done over there today, and the fans have got what they'd like to see done. And I wrote some things down here from the fan standpoint. I guess you're going to take a look at what they've worked on in spring drills because you've never got to see them. There's never, you can't get in. You can't. You got to listen to what the coach says, and then the players can showcase their skills with the fans present. They haven't had that opportunity, and you're going to be able to see some of the new players that they've added onto the roster. From a fan standpoint. But anything you see any different from a fan? Going over there and what they're trying to see outside of being part of all the hype and everything.
What I can't really figure out is why would you not let the fans watch practice? We never not let anybody not watch practice. They could come out and stand on the grass field down there where we practice.
When you all were practicing back in the day.
But, it's like you're not going to have surprises to surprise anybody. Everybody has got pictures of the game for the last 2 years. So, he hasn't changed anything. He runs the same routes and everything. Now, the only thing that'll be different this year is the quarterback. Mm-hmm. And that you can't tell by looking and going, and all you can do is say, well, he's got 4 juniors on this, or he's got sophomore here, and that's all you get out of that. And they sell a lot of beer, and everybody's happy.
Yeah. Marcus, the quarterbacks, I'm interested to see Nico. I call him California Nico. I want to see him. I want to see Joe Milton. I want to see those two guys. I want to see how they fare today. And the receivers, I want to see how they're handling their routes, and can they handle the ball, and who kind of shows up for that deal. And I think I'm going to kind of look at the secondary too, see how they react to both of these quarterbacks and how they play, because that's a big concern, huh?
I'll tell you what, if you're on the secondary playing against this offense, I mean, you've got to think it's just a break when you get to play somebody else that works at normal speed in a game. When you're having to work against that offense is snapping it every 20 seconds, you've got to be like, can't we just play Alabama and somebody that goes at only every 40 seconds? I'm worn out. But I think there's some things to see there, but like I said, nothing I think is going to count in August. Special teams, I mean, you got the kid who's transferred in from Indiana as the kicker. See what he does. See if he looks like he can kick it or not. I mean, if you got to be able to kick it in front of fans. It doesn't matter what you do on the practice field.
I know this is probably out of line right here a little bit, but let's say you got Nico going against Milton today, and let's say Milton just doesn't have the day, and Nico just plays lights out. Change anything, Coach Trail?
Well,
or just get people to talking?
It just gets people to talking and come. Any quarterback can have a bad day, and it all depends on who's calling what plays. And there's a lot of things. Who's behind the first team offensive line and the second team offensive line? You can take a good quarterback and put him behind a poor offensive line, and he don't look too good. Yep. And so how do you weigh that he had the first team line and he has the second team line?
Yeah.
Now, to me, the spring game is nothing but a plaything. And, you can look at a few things, but that August.
Just show.
It's just a show to sell tickets.
Yeah.
It's a show. And
promote.
You said it right.
Promote the game.
They're fine. They're getting measures of who wants to compete and who wants to play.
Yeah.
But it's not deciding. You're not setting yourself up to. This is how we're going to beat Georgia in March.
No.
Yeah.
Or April.
We had when I was in high school, we had a black and gold game. A week before the basketball season, annual deal, sell tickets. And the high school varsity coach was Mel Garland. He was a Hall of Famer, played at Tech High School, played at Purdue, great player.
Yeah.
And Mel was going to play me on the JV team. Moved me up from the freshman, play me on the JV team. I was excited about it. Well, we were playing the varsity, and we got there, and by golly, it got down to the end. We hadn't beat. The JV team had the varsity beat. And Mel come down there and told Dave Welcome, the JV coach, said, you need to pull all your people out of the ball game here because he didn't want the varsity to get beat.
Yeah.
I had a pretty good ball game, and I went into the PE class the next day, and Bob Miller, who played for Bowden Wyatt out at Wyoming, he was a PE teacher. He came in, he says, I tell you what, he says, I'd move you up to the varsity. And I just kind of laughed at him.
Yeah.
And here come Mel Garland about 5 minutes later, says, I want to see you in the coach's office. And I went in there, and he says, hey, I'm moving you up to the varsity. And he says, I'm not just moving you up, I'm starting you. Now, you say, well, that orange and white game don't mean anything. That black and gold game back in 1965 meant a lot. You know what I'm saying? There's a difference between a JV position and a varsity position. And I never played anything but varsity ball in high school. Freshman right on through the deal. And if it wasn't for that game, I would have never moved up.
Yeah,
see?
you would
well,
have. You would
but
have.
But it made for a good story. But I'll never forget, Mel goes, he goes, Mike, he says, I'm really sticking my neck out for you here. And I said, well, I don't even know the plays. I said, we're playing in 3 nights. He says, don't worry about it. And I said, what about my neck? That's what I told him. He says, you'll be all right. Anyway, he was a great coach and had some great years. Ended up going down to Indiana State.
You didn't have to know the plays. Just throw me the ball.
Yeah, we just back in those days it was run and gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, Branch McCratchy Kraken was at IU, and it was they called them the Hurrying Hoosiers, and they just went up and down the floor and threw it up. Jimmy Rail and all that bunch, and the Vanarsdales, and every high school in the state played that way. You didn't run very many plays. Marcus, this is the first orange and white game that they've had over there for, they've had one game in the last 3 years because of COVID and stadium reconstruction. So, in a way, the hype should be a little bit more today, anyway, for being absent from
We'll see. I mean, I hope they have a good crowd, and I hope, like I said, it's going to be on ESPN Plus.
And the weather looks presentable.
It's better than yesterday. It's supposed to be nice. I can tell it's better. I can tell Farmer Market's back because there was a crowd in here at Blue Ticks this morning.
First day of the Farmers Market.
So it could be a fun afternoon. I will say that, remember, they're doing digital tickets, so even if you show up with your $5, you're going to get a code for a digital ticket download. So take your phone with you.
Yeah.
They're not going to be giving you a piece of paper to get in the stadium today.
Yeah,
you can show up. I mean, I think the south end zone's closed because of the construction, but the rest of the bowl's open. So.
Yeah. And something we didn't mention, we mentioned the secondary, we mentioned the quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I think, but we need to talk about the offensive line, and can they run the ball? You know, I want to also see how mobile Nico is compared to Milton back there at quarterback. You know, Milton's, the rap on him is not real mobile. We'll see more mobility out of Nico than you're going to see out of him.
The thing that you're going to see here is Nico is not going to be really up to the standard that we would think he's going to get to. Now, if looking at the two quarterbacks, they'll come out and look about even. But smart-wise, the other one should be a little bit ahead of Nico because, I mean, he has not been in really what you call a game
when it comes
situation.
to Nico, you expect freshman courage.
Yeah, that's what I say.
He's going to take some risks that a senior's not going to take.
Yep.
So that's going to lead to freshman mistakes.
Yeah.
But that's just the ceiling for improvement.
Yeah.
But you'd also, I mean, I don't think anybody's ever going to say Joe Milton's too cautious throwing the ball either. So.
Yeah. But I'll say this: Milton's been through these spring games.
That's
he was through the games up at Michigan. He's through the spring games down here, and it's going to be kind of old hat to him. When you say Coach Trail, take it or leave it. But for Nico, he's coming in here. He's all excited. This is his first chance to kind of show what he's got. It's kind of a big day for him. A little bit different than what you're seeing with Milton, don't you think, Marcus?
Well, yeah. I mean, you've got. We don't know what his terms are for his NIL, but maybe he gets something for throwing so many touchdowns in his spring game. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned that the spring game has gotten into a kind of a fan fest deal, and the athletic director White promoting that. They're doing a lot of things for community involvement. They're going to have the Vol Village Music Festival with the live bands and everything over there. Donnie, you should go over there and take part in that. Do a little singing or whatever.
I haven't been asked.
Yeah. If it's country music, it all sounds the same.
That's right. I mean, not hard.
Yeah. Yeah, and they got food trucks. Got the food trucks over there and everything going.
They do, yeah.
Well, it'll be an exciting day over there, and we'll see how it turns out, and we'll have some discussion about it next week. Hey, it's time for a break, and when we return, the panel presents their Shelter Insurance Bowl predictions. You're listening to the Sports Page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
For over 50 years and 3 generations, the people of Blount County have trusted Stevenson Tire with their vehicles and their families. Our mission has always been simple: to provide quality products at reasonable prices with exceptional customer service. Featuring tire products from Michelin, BF Goodrich, Uniroyal, Bridgestone, Firestone, and Yokohama, Stevenson Tire also offers alignment and brake services at affordable prices. Stevenson Tire Company, 2411 East Broadway Avenue in Maryville. Call 983-1621 or online at StevensonTire.net.
Your newspaper, that's right. The Daily Times is your newspaper, tailored to where you live, emphasizing the things that affect you and keeping track of the people and players in our community. The award-winning Daily Times can be delivered each morning right to your door or inbox with the latest in local news and sports. For a 30-day free trial offer, call 981-1100 and begin enjoying your life, your times, every day with the Daily Times.
Dunkin' has what you need to conquer the day. So if you want to go from, I don't got this, to, I got this, well, then get this. A bold, smooth espresso drink from Dunkin'. Like a layered velvety caramel macchiato, a rich chocolatey mocha latte, or a creamy non-dairy oat milk latte. Because this day isn't going to conquer itself. No, you're going to do that. Take a sip of You Got This with Dunkin' Espresso drinks. Order ahead on the app plus earn rewards. America runs on Dunkin'. Price and participation may vary.
The Roger L. Newman Company began in 1984 with a vision of providing Blount County with excellent heating and cooling service. Mr. Newman also wanted a real business. No gimmicks and no high-pressure sales. They just fix it or replace it. They want to stay within your budget and make you comfortable. Their motto still stands true today. Call us first, we'll be there. Call Roger L. Newman Company at 982-5446 or visit online at rogerlnewman.com. Cooler temperatures are approaching. Upgrade your furnace now for as little as $50 a month.
Welcome back to the Blue Tick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards, and it's time for the Shelter Insurance Bowl prediction segment. And I've got Donnie Moore here, Coach Ray Trail, and Marcus Fitzsimmons. And it's Tennessee news that broke last week. Jordan Horston, the outstanding basketball player for the Lady Vols, signed in the 9th round with the Seattle Storm in the WBNA. Horston averaged 15.6 points per game, 7.1 rebounds per game, 3.3 assists last season. And that 2023 WNBA season will get underway May 19th and run through September the 10th. So Marcus Jordan Horston decided not to come back to Tennessee for another year, has signed with Seattle in the first round, and normally that's the round you want to be signed in with, is the first round. So I guess a good decision for her.
Well, I mean, if you're a first round pick in the WNBA, I mean, that pretty much says you're going to be on the roster. So, you know, that's the entrance to playing and staying in the league.
Is it like the NBA and the other leagues? Is it if you're not chosen in the first round, you not get any guaranteed money?
Well, they don't even have that much guaranteed money to begin with.
Oh, I got you.
I mean, remember those contracts are fairly small in comparison to NBA.
Well, that's
contracts.
true. I knew they were.
But I mean, it's a good move for her if that's what she wants to do. You know. Could she have made more on NIL staying at Tennessee? I don't know.
Well, they're talking about Rakia Jackson signing a pretty good NIL deal down here, so that kept her.
I mean,
what kind of deal did she get?
It wasn't disclosed, but it said it was substantial.
More than $15 a month laundry money.
Yeah, I can assure you that.
75 probably.
Yeah. Well, Kennedy Chandler, the outstanding player at UT last year that signed with Memphis, Coach Trail, he's already on waivers. They placed him on waivers last week. So, you know, he was a one-and-done player over here for UT. And right now, unless somebody picks him up, he's one and done in the pros. Now, there's a chance that somebody could pick him up, but he's not very big. You know, he's not very tall. Yeah. And he may end up overseas somewhere playing. I don't know.
He'll be G League or playing overseas somewhere. He's too good a player not to be playing if that's what he wants to be doing. But it's very hard to the longevity of an NBA career. I mean, we see these guys. We talked about the MVP, and you see some of those names, but there are a lot of guys on that roster who change in, year out, that are only on that roster for a little while.
That's true.
Yeah.
Roster does
and
change
I'll tell you what, that competition for pro basketball year in and year out, there's always somebody to take your place. You know, unless you're on up the ladder on a team, every year you got to worry about whether you're going to be back or not. You know, it's a tough deal.
It really is.
And Julian Phillips, Donnie, he's over there trying to test some NBA waters, and I mean, he performed early well for the Vols, but I'm not seeing it. Is there something I'm missing on him?
I don't think so, Mike. He didn't impress me a whole lot when he played here. And, as far as NBA goes, I don't know whether he's got NBA skills or not.
Yeah. Well,
We'll see.
Yeah. Let's switch over to the Lady Vols. Justine Passat, is that her name?
I think you're
Justine Passat has entered the transfer portal and will exit UT after her freshman year. The 6'4" guard forward from Toms River, New Jersey, appeared in 27 games last season. So, Marcus, players that's lost for next year, Jordan Horston's not coming back. Justine Passat in the portal, transfer portal. Brooklyn Miles not coming back in the portal. Marta Suarez. She's gone. No players left in the 2022 class for the Lady Vols. They've got right now 8 scholarship players, 1 walk-on, and 1 transfer portal player in Destiny Wells. And I think that's the girl from Belmont, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
I think you're right.
That's a total of 10 players right now with the transfer portal closing May the 11th. How are you reading that?
I think we'll see what's going to happen with the latest transfer. That one kind of surprised me because she has such a big upside, but I never felt like she never took her chance in this one, which given the quality of some of the players that Tennessee was putting on the court, you could see how that could happen. And patience isn't exactly a virtue anymore in the NCAA. So I could see where it could happen, but I thought she was probably the best fit for Tennessee when she signed out of that class.
5-star.
Because she's got good size and a good shooting touch. I like the transfer coming in. Destiny's supposed to be pretty good. We'll see if she can translate from playing Belmont League to playing in the SEC. If she can still perform that way, then she's a great addition. But there's no guarantee of that. But you're short. I mean, you're short on practice. You're short on a lot of things right now.
And injuries. What's going to happen with injuries? It looks to me like
you still have. I mean, just because you're in the portal doesn't mean you can't come back. But it's also a little awkward to come back.
Why would she be in there? It's just she's a freshman. Why would
she just finished her freshman year.
Yeah, she just finished her freshman year.
Okay, well, what I'm saying is, what did she expect?
You don't know anymore.
No.
I mean, to me,
not everybody's going to come in and be Caitlin Clark and get the green light for every possession.
Yeah, really.
Right now, that basketball team looks like a team that's going to be centered around Rakia Jackson.
Most definitely.
Y'all see it any other way?
But
I don't see it.
You?
No.
I mean,
well,
is that
I'm
the
just
girl
saying.
with the long hair hanging down the back?
Yeah, she's the one that came in from Mississippi State.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like a coach.
Yeah.
I mean, coach, you just signed Wilt. You've got Wilt Chamberlain. What are you going to do? I think we're going to shoot it from the outside this season.
Now tomorrow,
you go with your strength.
Tamara Key will be back. The inside player.
Oh, one that's been.
Yeah,
hurt,
she was hurt.
I mean, you've got her recovery from injury is going to determine Tennessee's season as much as anything.
Yeah.
It's if she's as good as she could have been.
I'm just looking at this program where they're at right now with what they got coming back, and you lost a whole class that you don't have, that you recruited in 2022, and you've got South Carolina and LSU that you're trying to compete with to move to the next level.
You've got a concern 2 years from now. I think your next season, you just name the 2 names that's going to revolve around. If they they could both be in the top 10 next year, depending on how they play. They could both be in top 10 picks next year.
South Carolina lost a lot of that team.
Yeah,
the whole team went pro.
They lost Boston. Boston signed with the Indiana.
There's about 5.
Fever,
I think.
It's about 5 or 6 of them that signed, though.
Yeah.
Off of that team, the whole team, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, when you're on top like that, you're reloading.
Oh yeah.
You're not rebuilding. You're reloading.
Well,
you're reloading.
Yeah, but again, I mean, we saw Pat do this, but I mean, you don't replace a Shamika Holtzclaw. You don't replace a Boston. There's not somebody who's going to take that role and that many roles. You're going to have to divide that up and start over again, Coach.
Yeah. Hey, let's switch over to baseball right here real quick and end up with baseball. But they're in Arkansas. They went into the game last night 23-10, 5-7 in SEC play, and Coach Trail's alma mater, the Razorbacks down there, took care of the Vols last night 5-2. They play again today at 7 o'clock. But Marcus, this team is, well, they're continuing to struggle. They're 5-8. They're third from the bottom in the SEC East, and I'm looking at Missouri. They've got 4 wins. I'm going back to that first series. Missouri's got 4 wins, and they got 3 of them against Tennessee the first weekend of the season.
And they hadn't won since.
No, they won 1 game since.
Yeah.
And that was last weekend.
Yeah.
It's the SEC, and I mean, my personal thought was Tennessee came in overranked and overrated by a lot of people just because of last year's success. And they overlooked what we asked Troy about back in December. You're replacing the entire order. You've got a half a position returning. A guy who started half a year, you replaced every other regular everyday starter on your roster. So it's not the same team. I don't care if you've got all that pitching back, because pitching's still pitching. You're still going to be throwing against the best hitters in the country in this league.
And they've been hitting Tennessee's pitching pretty good too.
Well,
I think that will come around.
Can hit.
I think that will come. I think that will come around to a degree, because the coaching staff is that good when it comes to working with the pitchers, and you've got 3 other starters you can use that can pitch on the weekend, and they started playing with that already. But what they don't have is that confidence they had last year, where they were by the 3rd inning they were pitching with a 5-run lead a lot of times. They don't have that kind of freedom because Tennessee's not hitting the ball that way. So they're not able to pitch as well as they did before, because they can't take the risk and put one over the plate and be okay, feeling like they gave up a home run. I'm still okay.
Every pitch has to be perfect.
They got 3 pitchers out, though.
Well,
you're
this
right.
Tennessee baseball team was 1 game from Omaha last spring.
Right.
And right now they're wallering around in the SEC East at 5-8, and below them is Missouri at 4-10, and Georgia at about 3-10.
They're playing Waller baseball.
They're
Mike.
playing. They're in the. They've gone from the penthouse to the outhouse.
They're not quite to the outhouse,
but they're working there.
But simply because their 3rd games have been so good, they've been so dominant in the 3rd games of the series.
Yeah. Well, Arkansas. I mean, they've got Arkansas today, and Arkansas, one of the top-ranked teams in the country, and then they've got. They got Vanderbilt coming in here next week for a series, so
that's a good team.
It's
too.
not going to get any easier next week. So we'll see what happens. Donnie Moore, been a good day. Time to close out. Blow the whistle. Hey, that'll do it for today's edition of the Goatee Sports Page. Thanks to Aaron Ishmael at Loud Media, our host, the Blue Tick Tavern, and all our sponsors. For Donnie Moore, Coach Ray Trail, Marcus Fitzsimmons, Troy Provo-Heron, and Brian Johnston at Goatees. Until next Saturday, this is Mike Edwards, the Greenfield Gunner, wishing everyone